Hi there, welcome to my YouTube channel, the Corsair Gamer. Going to be going over a tutorial for Windows 10 installation. Reason I'm going to be touching base on this one is I've had a lot of people ask me, how do I install Windows 10? What's the steps? What's the process? How do I take care of that appropriately? And then after I tried to tell them the process of it, they're like, can I just give it to you to take care of it? So I figure if I just put up a video that they can be able to bring up on their phone or something, it'll help give them a better understanding of how to go through that process. So the steps that I'm going to be going over is primarily going to go over the actual installation. There is other steps that you need to do prior to that, depending on your PC. You may have to go into your BIOS, make some changes for booting off of a CD drive, USB key, or something of that nature. So I'm just going to start off with just the Windows installation part, and then I'll have an extra video put together that will show if you had to do a changing in the BIOS, things that you would kind of need to look for. BIOS are different from each other depending on brands, like Asus, Gigabyte, MSI, so on and so forth. So that'll be a little bit more technical set into the basics that you'll need to find for it. But anyways, we'll go ahead and jump into the Windows 10 installation. So when you finally have booted off the media that you're going to work with, where it's a USB key, an external hard drive, or a CD for your system, you'll eventually get to this location here where it's at your Windows setup. Your first questions that will be asked is what's your language you're going to install, time and currency format, and the keyboard input method. Most people, all you have to do is once you get to here, just click that next button. Then it'll take you to here. Now you do have two options here. One's kind of down below, out of sight, out of mind. It's the repair your computer. Now don't think that you're going to go straight to this whenever you're running into a problem with your computer to try and repair it. This is to try to repair things with Windows, not necessarily the hardware of the computer. That we can get into a whole different video of how that repair your computer option works. For now, just go ahead and click on the install now. It'll go through, get the file set up so to be able to start moving into the process to get the installation going. You'll get here for activate Windows. This is where it's going to ask you for your 25 character product key code that you get from Microsoft. This will usually either be on the case that your discs come in. If this is a computer that was purchased from the store, sometimes they have it taped onto the side of it, on the bottom of it if it's a laptop. So just make sure that you have this COA, be able to type that in so that you've got that taken care of. As for me, I'm just going to go ahead and skip this step and we'll just go straight and choose the operating system we're going to work with. Windows 10 Home is which I'm working with right now. So we'll go to the next on this. Then it'll bring you to your software licensing term. Of course, you'll need to hit I accept the license. If you don't, the next button will stay grayed out and you will never be able to go through to get that done. You have to accept it. If you want to take the time to try and read through it, be my guest. I have never wasted my time on it because whether you accept it is whether you can get it installed. If you don't want to accept it, might as well pop the disk out and go and try and set up Linux. Go ahead and click next. Now you got a spot for upgrade, which is going to install Windows, keep your file settings and applications, and then the custom install Windows only, which is an advanced setup. The advanced, don't let that deter you right now. I know when you hear advanced, it's like, oh, I'm not advanced. I don't know what I'm doing with that. That's fine. It's a basic, still into a basic setup for it. The upgrade is if you're going from like Windows 7 to Windows 10 and you don't want to lose any of your files. I'm going to be showing you how to do one where it's a complete wipeout, that you just want everything gone, everything off, and starting with a fresh install. So go ahead and click on that. Now, what's going to show here, the amount of free space on the selected partition is smaller than 26253 megabyte recommendations. We recommend making it at least 26253 megabytes or selecting another partition. You should still be able to do the install anyways. Ensure that the features are working correctly. Windows might create additional partition files, so you go with that. It is the minimum requirement to get Windows installed. Most computers, when you get them now, are going to have anywhere between 500 gigabytes to terabytes, however many terabytes you end up going, depending on your build. I'm just doing the bare minimum because I'm doing this through a separate setup and I don't want to waste a bunch of hard drive space that I don't really want to use up. So we've got that selected. Once you've got that new one done, it's going to give you a second partition, system reserved. This happens with all of them. Don't worry about it. You're not really losing that much memory. It's just about 500 or so megabytes, so don't worry about that. Make sure that drive 0 partition 2 is selected. It'll say primary on there. shows that I'm at a 19.5 gigabytes. Once that's done and you know that's selected, go ahead and click on Next. This is where it's going to copy the Windows files, then it's going to get the files ready for installation. This here can take a while depending on the media that you're using. If you're using a CD, this does take a little while longer than if you're working from a USB jump drive, which usually will be able to transfer files over pretty decently. And it also goes into hand with what type of hard drive setup you have. If you're working with a SATA hard drive, or if you're working with a solid state hard drive through SATA, or if you're working with a solid state that's onto the motherboard that's an M.2 setup. Each of those will change the varying speeds of how fast it will install and transfer those files to get it going. So this is going to go through. What I'll do is I'll speed this along. Just know that you're going to be sitting put for a bit to make sure that this goes through. So we'll let this continue to go through. I'll fast forward along. I'll even put it in a spot where you can be able to skip along past that. Okay, now we're getting close to getting the files ready for installation, transfer over. So I'll stick with you here for the next little bit process for that. And remember, yes, this does take some time, does involve a little bit of effort, but just hang in there. It just gets boring really good. Turn on some music, get a good book and read for a little bit, something like that. Now, it does say installing updates. Doesn't mean it's doing the full Windows updates right now. So that's still going to be a process that comes after you get Windows fully installed in, because Microsoft's going to just force you to do updates in general. You could deactivate them, but don't rely too hardly on that of deactivating those. You do need to have some of those updates. So it'll do a restart here. It's going to come up on the screen, possibly if you're working with a CD, to press any key to continue or something. Do not press any key to continue. Let it continue to do its thing. Hands away through the keyboard, and we'll let it go through its process. It'll get to here, and then it'll start bringing up some notations, just letting you know it's going through that installation process and getting more things set up for it. So it will probably restart possibly another couple of times before this fully completes. So I'll get back with you once it gets to the next steps for you to continue forward with. All right, now we're just getting the last little bits that portion set up here, and we'll continue forward with it. You'll have Cortana end up coming on if your audio starts working right away. Doesn't always happen. If it doesn't, don't worry. You'll be working on putting drivers on afterwards. But if for some reason Microsoft has correct drivers in their large database, then you may end up having her start talking to you. And to be honest, she does get quite annoying, in my opinion. But if you want to have her read everything off to you that ends up on the screen, feel free to leave her on. Otherwise, I'll show you how you can quiet her off.
Hi there, I'm Cortana, and I'm here to.
There. Now she's nice and quiet. You can be able to read through whatever she has on here, but it's just a basic intro that she's just talking to you about on it. Again, if you like hearing her voice, leave it turned on and let her have a way with you. But at the same time, if you do have a mic that's set up and Windows has it already going, it could cause problems because it tries to pick up the vocals on it, so where you can be able to say yes or okay or next to things. So here's the first spot. Let's start with the region. Is this right? So it's just asking what region are you in, what country and everything. So of course, most people is the United States. So go ahead and hit yes. Then it's going to ask you for the right keyboard layout. Again, you're choosing the correct one that you need. Again, US, you'll just want to have the basic US keyboard layout. Now, some people do have a second keyboard layout they do, because if they work with typing in a different language or something like that, they need to have a different layout for that. So, but for most people, just go ahead and skip this. You can always add one in later. Now it's going to look for any updates. This is just to help out with the process. It also, if you're working through Wi-Fi, it'll bring up asking you for Wi-Fi password, where your router's at, stuff like that. I'm hardwired in, so it shouldn't ask me for anything of that nature. All right, now this is where you can sign in with Microsoft. Now, if this is your first time ever setting it up, go ahead and create an account. This is a way to get yourself a nice email address with Outlook and have it all set up and taken care of. For people that are doing a reinstall and they already have one, it's really good to go ahead and type in your email and password after this. Now, there is still the other option when I do build computers for someone else and they don't want an Outlook email or anything like that, you can do an offline account. Few extra steps I have to go through for there, but usually it's just best go ahead and set one up, and there's nothing extra for who doesn't want more emails to work with to have junk mail going to because they don't want to look at it anymore. So we'll go ahead and type in the one I have. One of the extra benefits of having this set up is every time you reinstall, it'll automatically get your email set back up and taken care of for that. Now this next option that comes up, I'm not a big fan of it, but some people are, so I'll show you the process to set it up. You can always set it up and then disable it later, but it's just creating a pin. It makes it faster where you're not typing in the password. It's like putting your own little ATM pin onto your account and everything for logging into the computer. So we'll just go ahead and set that up. Here's where it can link your phone and PC. Now, I haven't actually explored much onto this. I plan on doing it for future video just in case people are wanting to set it up. Supposedly, you should be able to connect it to your cell phone device, be able to access faster with information like that. Not 100% sure, haven't really played with it much, but you can always do it later, so just go ahead and click on do it later. Now it's going to say protect your files with OneDrive. OneDrive is really nice to have, but you don't want it to just start randomly saving all of its stuff there, because then you'll start getting notifications of, hey, your OneDrive space is getting full or something like that. Only save it to your PC. Again, you can set OneDrive up later if you want to do that, or if you're one that likes to use Google Drive, it's another one that allows you to do that. But just for right now, only save it to this PC. This is where she says, make Cortana your personal assistant. Now, if you want to have her there and available as a search and other options like that, perfect, go ahead and have her there. I'm just going to go ahead and say yes to continue forward because it can be taken off later or added back on, whichever one you'd rather do at this point. Now it's going to ask for your location, diagnostics, relevant ads, speech recognition, tailored experiences with diagnostic data. I usually just go ahead and leave everything checked. Doesn't really seem to affect the basic use of the machine. Just go ahead and let it do what it needs to. Again, a lot of these can be disabled after the fact or re-enabled after the fact. So, all right. Now she's just going to do the last step where she's just going to go ahead and step through, make sure all the files are installed the way it's supposed to be done, and get you brought up to the Windows desktop at that point in time. So we'll go ahead and give her a moment. She'll talk to you a bit, try to convince you that things are okay, things are going along fine, and yes, they are. If you've made it to this point, everything's going good for you so far. So pat yourself on the back. You've done a great job so far. That is key. Don't turn off your PC. Now, I have had it happen in the past where had a power outage or something happen during an install. Don't worry, it's not going to harm anything that much when it does have that happen with the install. Usually it'll try and pick it right back up. If it doesn't pick right back up where it needs to, all you're going to do is just go through the whole process again. However, though, if you do have a storm going on outside, it's probably best to make sure that you're either on a backup, make sure you're on a surge protector, and if there is a really bad storm going on, it's also good to just go ahead and turn off your computer and unplug it from the wall. That'll prevent any chances that a surge could get into there and damage the equipment. A lot of the hardware out there nowadays does help prevent a lot of that, but still all it takes is one good surge to happen to fry stuff. I had a friend have that happen to them before, so just always keep that in mind that there's always that one little chance where it could happen. Always have a surge protector set up. All right, now it's going to go ahead and start getting things started up here for us. So you'll start to recognize a few things. So first thing that comes up, boom, you got Microsoft Edge browser setting up there for you. Uh, A lot of people have talked good about it. Some people like Edge. Other people prefer Google Chrome, Firefox, or other ones like that. Again, things that you can be able to download later that you don't have to have set up right now. But currently, this is your desktop. You are now ready to start using it, start doing a lot of things. The one big thing that you will have to look into, and I'll make another video that helps out with this as well, is drivers. You need to make sure you have the most updated drivers available for your computer. Now, if you bought this computer from a other manufacturer, usually they have image disks or an image drive or partition that actually does the whole install process for you, which will take care of a lot of those drivers. If you're someone like me who builds their own computer, you want to be able to go to the website for your system's hardware to download the most updated drivers for the system. It's going to be the best way and the most accurate way for it to actually function without having too many issues. Another thing to keep in mind is Microsoft will start trying to download and do its updates. It'll do it all usually seamless in the background, but then it'll just randomly say we need a reboot, or sometimes I've had it just reboot on me because the update is that important to get it taken care of. Let the updates go through. Don't argue with them. Don't just close them out. There's a lot of good stuff that does come of it. Um, there are some people that like to have it disabled and go with the motto, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That is still a good motto with computers. If you're not experiencing problems, don't go and download that latest driver. Don't go and get that update done, because if you're not having a problem with it, you may not need to. It's like you don't want to flash your BIOS because a new BIOS flash is available there for your hardware. It could cause more problems than do any good. But you're at a starting point here. Again, I'll make another video that helps explain more of how to find out what drivers you're missing, what you need to be able to do to get those installed on and taken care of. So hope you enjoyed the video. If you've liked it, please put a like up on there. If you like the content that you're seeing here and want to see more, please subscribe. Type in the comments if I went too fast on anything, or if I didn't clarify things better, or if you just want to ask some general questions. Please feel free to visit my Facebook page, Preston Key Support, and I'll have a link of that down in the description as well. So hope you enjoyed this, and good luck to you, and always remember, computers are forever evolving, and let's face it, you hate them. I love them. Let my passion assuage your loathing. Take care.